Hello and welcome. Today we are diving headfirst into a theory that doesn't just want to tweak our understanding of a universe, it wants to throw out the old rulebook and install a brand new operating system for reality itself. So get ready, we're talking about topic ledger theory.
Okay, let's just start with a question that's designed to shake the very foundation of how we think about, well, everything. We're all taught that the universe is made of fundamental particles, right? It's made of physical stuff. But what if that's completely wrong? What if reality isn't made of anything at all?
So, first things first, we gotta break some old habits. This whole first section is about tearing down that old school idea that the universe is just a collection of stuff and swapping it out for a perspective that is, frankly, much more radical.
And this is the fundamental shift, right here. You know, for centuries, our whole theory of what even exists, our ontology, has been based on substance. We assumed reality was made of things, like atoms or maybe superstrings. Topic ledger theory just flips that script entirely. It argues for a contextual ontology, which is a fancy way of saying that the context, the container for information, actually comes before the content. The basic unit of reality isn't a particle. It's what the theory calls a topic, a bounded context, a vessel for events. So an electron, a company, even an idea. They aren't just things in the universe, they are sub-processes of the universe's grand computation.
Okay, so if reality is a new operating system, we need to learn the language, right? Let's get into the nitty-gritty and really understand how it works. We're gonna break down the three core components: topics, ledgers, and the interactions that drive absolutely everything, which are called collisions. First up is the topic. Now try to forget thinking of this as an object. A topic is more like a container, an ontological vessel that has its own boundaries, its own internal rules, and its own unique history. It's the subject that perceives and experiences reality. A star is a topic, sure, but so is a single biological cell, and even that abstract idea bouncing around in your head right now, yep, that's a topic too. Each one is its own self-contained little world.
So if a topic is the container, what actually defines it? Well, that's where the ledger comes in. The ledger is the unchangeable, perfectly ordered history of that topic. Every single event it has ever been a part of. You can really think of it like a blockchain for reality. This ledger is what establishes causality. The universe doesn't forget, it just encrypts events deeper and deeper into the chain. Any object is just the current state, the most recent block of its own long history.
So how does this chain get bigger? Through collisions. But don't just think of two billiard balls smacking into each other. A collision is any interaction where two or more topics, two separate contexts, intersect and have to negotiate a shared reality. And this leads to an amazing insight. The laws of physics aren't some external rulebook imposed on everything. Nope, they're basically the smart contracts that govern how these debates get settled.
Let's make this real. A physical collision, like these two cars crashing, this isn't just a physical event, it's a debate. The kinetic energy of one car is debating with the structural integrity of the other car. The protocol that governs this debate? Thermodynamics. And the outcome? The dented metal, the new trajectory? That's the new block that gets written to the ledger of both cars, forever.
And what's so cool is that this same structure works in completely abstract worlds. Take a cognitive collision. Here, the topics are two competing ideas. You have a thesis colliding with an antithesis. The protocol for this debate is dialectic, or just a structured argument. And the outcome? A synthesis, a brand new insight. That new idea becomes the next block in the ledger of that entire conversation.
And you see this same pattern in biology, maybe in the most profound way. A sperm cell collides with an egg. This is an incredibly high-stakes debate over genetic compatibility. And the protocol here? It's the ultimate arbiter, natural selection. The successful resolution of this debate writes the genesis block for a completely new topic, an offspring. It's the same fundamental process, just with different stakes and different rules.
Okay, so we have the basics down. Topics, ledgers, and collisions. Now, you might want to buckle up, because this is where things get really wild. We're about to see how this isn't just some neat philosophy, it's a framework that actually rewrites the laws of physics as we know them.
All right, let's just rip the Band-Aid off with a big one. You ready? Everything you learned in school, forget it for a second. According to this theory, gravity is not a force.
So, if it's not a force, what in the world is it? Well, the theory calls it the informational weight of the ledger. Just think about it for a second. A massive object, like a star, has had an unbelievable history of high-energy collisions. Its ledger is just
Massive. This sheer density of recorded history actually warps the informational geometry of the universe around it, creating what the theory calls a well of context. Other, smaller topics are then compelled to fall into this deep well. That's gravity.
Okay, next on the chopping block, time. We're used to thinking of it as that fourth dimension we're all traveling along, like a river, right? Well, this theory says, nope, that's wrong too. Time is not a dimension.
So, what is it then? Time is simply the irreversible growth of the ledger. It's the process of the universe writing its own history, block by block. The past is the immutable written part of the chain. It's done. The future is the unwritten void, just pure potential. And the present? The present is that moment of collision, the block that is currently being written. The arrow of time is nothing more than the direction the chain is growing. That's it.
And this framework, it doesn't just stop with the big cosmic stuff, like gravity and time. Let's bring it down to Earth and see what it has to say about the nature of life, about what makes you, you, and even about the quest for true artificial intelligence.
So what makes you, you? It's not just the atoms you're made of right now. According to this, it's your unique, uncopyable history. And this idea just elegantly solves the old twin paradox. You can build a car that is identical to another one in every single way. Same parts, same color, same everything. But it's not the same car. It's a new topic with a brand new ledger ID and its own creation date. It's a twin, sure, but it's a totally separate entity on the universal blockchain.
So what separates a rock from a rabbit? What actually makes something alive? The theory has a great word for it, an autopoietic system. That's just a fancy way of saying a self-creating system. Simply put, a living topic is a system that actively works to keep its own chain going. It refuses to let its story end. It observes, it reads its own ledger, its DNA is basically a record of billions of years of successful survival debates, and then it uses that information to engineer its next action, to write its next block in a way that just keeps itself going.
And that definition of life gives us a powerful new way to think about AI. See, current AI models are stateless. They can give you a brilliant answer to a question, but between that question and the next one, they have no persistent memory of their own existence. They don't have a ledger. So to create true artificial sentience, we need to build systems that not only remember their own history, but have that fundamental, autopoietic drive, the core goal to maintain and extend their own ledger. They wouldn't just be calculating, they would exist. So, we've talked physics, we've talked identity, we've talked AI. Let's bring this all together and focus on the most important part of this whole idea. What does it mean for us, right here, right now?
This right here is the heart of it all. In this kind of computational universe, we are not just passive spectators, sitting in the audience watching the show unfold. Every single choice we make, every interaction we have, is an act of writing. We are the active participants creating reality, one block at a time.
And this isn't just a nice philosophical point, you know? It's a practical one. The theory suggests a new discipline called ontological engineering. This is basically the practice of mastering the ledger, of understanding its rules so deeply that we can trace the origins of complex systems, reproduce specific contexts, and even simulate probable futures. It's a roadmap for building more resilient systems, from our companies to our AI. So that's where we'll leave it, with this one last thought. If reality is a negotiated history, an immutable ledger being written in real time, and if you are one of its authors, what will the block that you write today say? What context will you create? What debate will you resolve? And what story are you going to add to the permanent record of the universe?